just hours ago. What's your reaction?
Well, I think him and Trump have a lot of things in common that Trump doesn't even need to state his policies say. And it's really a shame that the Republican Party is allowing people like him to be running with that kind of background. But if you look at it really closely, you see that he actually aligns with the hateful politics, the hateful rhetoric, and that divide and conquer strategy. There's no room in our democracy to have anyone, even someone as a governor present who is actually having these beliefs. A Black Nazi, I can't imagine that we would actually be looking at a candidate who called himself a Black Nazi, who even said that he enjoyed watching any kind of homosexual encounters, but then tries to condemn and demify the LGBTQ community. It just shows you that they'll go to any length to try to hoodwink Americans into believing that you should vote for us when their end goal is really to have a complete dictatorship and not a democracy where people are thriving and where they're having housing and when they're actually living a life of dignity with an economic standard that all Americans should have access to.
Let's turn now to the situation in Springfield, Ohio. Trump has said that he would visit within 2 weeks after his comments at the debate earlier this month, when he claimed without evidence that Haitian migrants in the community were eating cats and dogs. Springfield's Republican mayor said he hopes the visit won't happen. Ohio's Republican Governor Mike DeWine wrote an opinion piece for the New York Times defending Springfield and the Haitians who he points out are in the country legally. As the co-chair of the Congressional Haiti Caucus and daughter of Haitian parents, what's your reaction to what's been happening?
I'm outraged, angry, but more importantly, I just cannot believe that we're here living in this day and time where this is actually playing out. Donald Trump is playing a dangerous game of divide and conquer. That dangerous game is predicated on fear and intimidation. And for him to actually win this dangerous game, he has to blow the whistle horn to make sure that these hate groups are active. And I think that's why we're seeing an increasing amount of rhetoric, hateful rhetoric. They're coming in illegally. They're coming in to kidnap your pets who are the closest to you. They're coming in to do this and that to your family. This is all the fear mongering, but what's so dangerous about it is bringing us back to a time where Haitian people, Haitian Americans all over the country are feeling fear. We're feeling fear because when he blows that whistle, it's not just for Ohio, it's for all those white supremacist groups and those hate groups all around the country. So now you have death threats to anybody who's reporting on it, and you're having death threats to anyone who's actually identifying as Haitian American. I always try to tell people our story of being a Haitian American, especially being the only Haitian American in Congress and the first Haitian Democrat, that being Haitian American or even a Black migrant, we actually have to shoulder two crosses. The first cross that we shoulder is the presumption of illegality. We always have to explain that we're here legally, that we're here actually through the proper paperwork, we were vetted. And even in this moment, as a member of Congress, there are people who I have to explain to that I was born in the United States and my parents are legal. To believe that we would be living in this moment is crazy to me. The second burden that we have to shoulder as being Black migrants is the Blackness, the being Black. I mean, there's a criminality they always try to place on Black migrants. We're here to steal, kill, and do all kinds of things. The truth is that Haitian Americans are very hardworking. Not only are we hardworking, when we enter the country, we enter through a very intense scrutiny and vetting process. Before they came into the country, they had to have a sponsor. That sponsor had to show that they were financially capable of taking care of them throughout the entirety of their stay. They had a background check to make sure that there were no national security risk and an economic check. So if you're looking at the criteria they place on Haitian Americans or Haitians before they come into the country, Donald Trump would not be admitted into the United States based on that criteria. So for them to turn around and say that we are here to harm when we've been rebuilding the city of Ohio, and to be honest with you, the entire United States, is not only disappointing.
And I might add, even the governor, a Republican governor, talked about how the Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio, has helped to rebuild and do jobs. They've even started businesses there in Springfield. Let's go to Congress for a minute. Congress has a little over a week to agree on a government spending bill, and with that, to avert a shutdown at the end of the month. Politico is reporting that Speaker Mike Johnson is expected to put forth a clean spending bill that can attract Democratic support next week. after a Republican-backed bill that paired funding with a provision requiring proof of citizenship failed a few days ago. Can you tell us what you've heard, Congresswoman?
Well, this game that he's been playing from the beginning was a political stunt. They have a storyline that they're trying to sell throughout the entire nation of these illegal immigrants who are coming in to do illegal activity. So they've really been trying to push that narrative in Congress about now they are voting illegally. And so he put up the SAVE Act, knowing that there is no evidence of immigrants voting illegally, trying to get that political point with Donald Trump. But the truth is that they've always been the case caucus ever since we actually started this session. And I presume that he will put forth, and hopefully he'll put forth a clean bill because the American people need a clean bill. But the truth is we need to identify what policies they've been doing and why they are risking our veterans and risking Americans' lives to play this Donald Trump game. There's no place in politics for this gamesmanship. We have to serve the people who served us first. Even looking at what he was putting forth, cutting $12 billion from our veterans' budget is, to me, ridiculous. This is not the country that people have sacrificed for, and we have to put our veterans forth first. So we're hoping that he will come to his senses and stop trying to placate Donald Trump and the mega Republicans, the extremists, and trying to force a government shutdown. That's what I can hope. But to be honest with you, it's been such an unprecedented time of crazy extremists, the things that the rhetoric that's coming from their mouth. I hope he doesn't actually follow Donald Trump and does what's right for the entire country. Make sure we pass that CR, that clean CR, to make sure we're funding our country and everyone is getting the help they need.
Before we go, I must ask you about another headline today. The Harris campaign announced it has accepted an invitation to another presidential debate on CNN late in October. At his rally just hours ago, Trump has said it was too late for another debate. In your opinion, would another debate benefit the American voters?
Absolutely. I think another debate would let us see Kamala Harris shine, but also show us who Trump is right now. And the truth is, he doesn't want another debate because he doesn't want to be whooped again on national TV. But I think we need to see more of it because he has no real mission when going into going into the presidency. He keeps saying the rhetoric over and over again. But what we really need to hear from, and I think, is to hear more from our presidential nominee, Kamala Harris. She's been excellent. She's been poised and she's been able to articulate what she will do when it comes to economy, what she will do to help the people of the United States, and how she will unify the United States. To be quite honest with you, the more time she speaks, the more time that we see them debating, I'm actually getting more hopeful. The people in my community are getting more hopeful. I hear from everyone, not just Haitian people, that they're ready to go out and vote. They're ready for a change in our democracy where we actually have peace in our democracy, a joined, unified country, and that we're no longer listening to this ridiculous concept and these fallacies and these fictitious fixations on all these people who are coming to get us.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us, Congresswoman Sherfilis McCormick. Democrats are calling out Republicans over reproductive rights, highlighting how state abortion bans made possible by overturn of Roe versus Wade are putting women at risk. Vice President Kamala Harris weighed in at a rally in Atlanta yesterday. Take a listen.
This is a healthcare crisis, and Donald Trump is the architect of this crisis. He is proud that women are dying, proud that doctors and nurses could be thrown in prison for administering care, proud that young women today have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers. How dare he?
Joining me now is Democratic Minnesota Senator, U.S. Senator Tina Smith, a surrogate for the Harris-Walz campaign. Thank you for joining me today, Senator. Senator, the Vice President has been passionate in her defense of reproductive rights. How is her message resonating with voters?
Well, thank you, Reverend Sharpton. I'm so glad to be with you today. And her remarks yesterday in Georgia just show the strength of her connection on this issue with so many Americans. And to think that we have a man running for president who has made the situation that we have in this country so dangerous for women. I mean, the horrible stories of this young Georgia mother, only 28 years old, who died because she was unable to get the care that she needed because of Trump abortion bans. These stories are resonating so much with Americans around the country, including in Georgia. And what I think is happening is people who may not think of themselves as Democrats as they go into this presidential election. They may think of themselves as being moderate Republicans or independents. They look at the contrast between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and it becomes more and more clear to them that there's really only one choice if you care about women's health care, if you want to protect women's lives.
Now, you just mentioned the story. The Harris rally in Atlanta comes amid reporting on the death of Amber Thurman, a 28-year-old Georgia woman who died after she couldn't access legal abortion care in the state. According to a ProPublica report released Monday, the Maternal Mortality Review Committee found her death was preventable, brought on by delays in her care due to the state's strict reproductive laws put in place after the doctor's decision. Now, Thurman's 6-year-old son is left without a mother. Former President Trump has said everyone supported leaving abortion rights to the states. Was this what Amber Thurman or her family wanted?
Nobody deserves to be denied access to care because some politician has decided what kind of health care they're able to get and when they're able to get it. This young mother died of sepsis. Infection overtook her body because she was unable to get access to the care that could easily have saved her life. And it's important, as the vice president did yesterday, it's important for everybody to understand and remember that Donald Trump was the architect of these state abortion bans. It is because of him that this has been happening. And you look at states around the country. I mean, let's take Florida, for example, where we have a very important Senate race. Debbie McCarcel-Powell is running for Senate. It's quite a close race. And she's running against a United States Senator, Rick Scott, who says that he would have voted to support that 6-week abortion ban that is in Florida. So the consequences of these decisions that have been made by these Republican politicians to deny women access to care are being felt all over the country. And this tragic story in Georgia has brought the reality of this home in ways that I think Americans are really thinking about hard as they go into this election.
Speaking of former President Trump, he posted in all caps rants on Truth Social last night claiming won't have to think about abortion if he's elected. His message to female voters coming the same day he stood by his endorsement of North Carolina Republican candidate for governor, Mark Robinson, despite reports of racist and sexist comments, allegations he denies. Now, Democrats are increasingly highlighting a pattern of misogynist rhetoric and policy coming from Republicans, starting at the very top of the ticket. What are your thoughts on all of this, Senator?
Well, every day, Donald Trump is showing us who he is, and we need to believe him. We need to believe what he tells us he's going to do. And this latest disaster with Mark Robinson out of North Carolina is another example of the contrast we have between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. I mean, here he is an early endorser of this terrible person. He said that he was the star of the Republican Party. Here is a man who has said that if slavery were still legal, he'd like to own a few. It's a man who said that there should